Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and want to start things off by taking a look at that forecast for your day today, which will have a few storms back into the picture, particularly for the mountains. As you head onto the plains, though, I think we're going to be mainly dry in the Denver area today, but one or two storms could make the way into our vicinity. We'll have a better chance for storms tomorrow, and the weekend ahead looks cool and a bit on the gray side. So enjoy the sunshine while we've got it. You can see a few mid to high level clouds over the skies. This is the view, the beautiful view from Lookout Mountain. Again, those mid to high level clouds indicating some of the moisture that will arrive starting today, but really in earnest tomorrow and for the weekend ahead. And that will bring us that chance for some storms tomorrow. And that could, by the way, disrupt some of those outdoor watch parties for the avalanche. I'll have more on that here in the next few minutes. Today, the focus for those storms will be in the mountains, along the plains, including Denver. I think we're going to be mainly on the hot side. High temperatures right around 90 degrees for us here in Denver. Tomorrow, the storms more widespread. And then for the weekend ahead, it's kind of cool. It's rainy, especially as you head south of I-70. Temperatures going to be mostly stuck in the low to mid 70s and around the Front Range. Now, right now, it's already in the mid 80s for us here in Denver, 84 toasty degrees as of 11 a.m. here on this Thursday morning. And you head out to the Eastern Plains, few spots already topping 90 degrees, Ray at 91, and a few other spots right around 90 degrees at this point. Mountains, 60s and 70s. Now for today, temperatures up to around 90 degrees. Still some isolated storms. Again, there's that chance for an isolated storm here in Denver, but I think the best chance will be into the mountains. I'll have a bit more detail on that storm chance later today, but it's a warm day. And again, some of those isolated storms still around. Forecast highs for today, Eastern Plains, most of us in the 90s, mountains 70s, a few 60s in some of those cooler spots, those higher elevation spots. And the further south you go, you'll be looking at probably slightly cooler temperatures, a bit more cloud cover in places like Cortez and Telluride and Pagosa Springs. Those areas will be a bit cooler just because of a bit more cloud cover. Now for today along the Front Range, there is an air quality alert that's in place until 4 o'clock. So limit that time outdoors. The air quality going to be lousy this afternoon thanks to ground ozone, not due to wildfire smoke, due to ground ozone. So just keep that in mind as you head out and about today. Southern Colorado, starting to see a few of those storms pop on up. You can see a few lightning strikes in around Telluride and Durango. And on up by Ouray, you could see some of those storms develop later on this afternoon. Those storms will push their way off to the east, and you might notice that little kind of band of cloud cover from Grand Junction on down into Telluride. That is the initial stream of monsoonal moisture that will reach us here in the Denver area for your day tomorrow. But for today, it's going to be mainly confined to the mountains. So for today, those showers and storms that I was just showing you in Telluride and Durango, those move north and they move east. There will be a limited threat for some flash flooding in some of the burn scars. That could include the Grizzly Creek burn scar just the east of Glenwood Springs. So keep that in mind. If you're heading out that way, you could be looking at perhaps some of those I-70 closures if you get a storm that sits over the Glenwood Springs area. So again, just keep that in mind if you're heading out on I-70 through the mountains today. Those storms clear on up by tomorrow morning, and by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, most of us on the sunny side, and that could give way to some more storms as we get into the day tomorrow. More on tomorrow here in just a second. Closer look in here at Denver. So what we're looking at here in the Denver area for this afternoon and today is a lot of high base storms. And what I mean by that is you got a lot of mid to high level cloud cover. You go outside, you look outside right now, and those clouds are kind of way up there. You can probably notice it right now. And that's where that moisture is. It's a bit too high for most of that rain to reach the ground. So most of those showers and storms that do develop today will evaporate. The rain that falls from those clouds will evaporate before it hits the ground. It's very dry at the surface. And so for that reason, I think here in Denver, we're mainly going to stay on the dry side. Maybe a brief period of gusty winds, perhaps a lightning strike or two. Better chances you head west of I-25, best chances in the foothills, and certainly as you get west of the continental divide. That's where you're going to have the best chance of seeing a storm or a shower today. Most of us, I would say 80% of us are dry. Call it a 20% shot at a shower or storm for your day today here in the Denver area. But again, most of us will stay dry for your day today. Now for tonight, temperatures drop back into the low 60s for us. Any early storms that we get will clear fairly quickly. Winds at the northwest at 5 to 15 miles an hour, And that sunset, by the way, fun fact, even though the summer solstice was back on Tuesday morning, our sunsets here in Denver and throughout Colorado are actually still incrementally getting a tiny bit later. Our latest sunset of the year will be next Monday and Tuesday at 8:33. Reason being is our sunrises are actually getting a fair bit later, but the sunsets are actually still getting a slight bit later, but at a slower pace than those sunrises are getting later, if that makes sense. Long story short, sunsets still slightly getting later despite the fact that the summer solstice was back on Tuesday. Now for tomorrow, we'll have a better chance at a shower or storm, and that could disrupt some of those plans for avalanche watch parties, especially I think pre-game we'll have some of those showers and storms around for us. So again, if you're kind of planning around that, just keep in mind there's going to be those storm chances before the game. And I know we're all going to make jokes about lightning, the Avalanche are obviously playing the Lightning, yada, yada, yada. The point is if you're out and about before the game tomorrow, remember, if you can hear thunder, that means you are close enough to be struck by lightning. So maybe something to keep in mind if you're going to McGregor Square or the Tivoli Quad, just keep in mind a shelter that might be nearby. And I think at the Tivoli Quad in particular, I know that'll be a challenge. Maybe a car to sprint to, something like that, a car or a building that can keep you safe. If you obviously seek shelter under a tree, that is not a good spot. A tent is not going to do it for you either. So just keep in mind somewhere to sprint to if a storm develops, which again, before the game in particular, right around puck drop is when that storm chance diminishes, but before the game we'll have those storms around. By the time you get to puck drop, we should be just about in the clear by tomorrow night for hopefully some celebrations. We should be looking a lot better. So if you are planning on celebrating tomorrow night, it looks a-okay. I'll tell you what, I'm planning on it too. Hopefully we have something to celebrate here in just about 36 hours. Meantime, as we head through the day tomorrow into the mountains, those showers and storms will be more widespread as you head south of I-70. So the West Elks, the Sangre de Cristos, the Wet Mountains, that's where you're going to have the best chance at seeing a shower or storm for your afternoon tomorrow. But still some storms around north of I-70, and that could lead to some flash flooding in some of the burn scars, the East Troublesome, the Cameron Peak, the Calwood burn scars. Just keep in mind Williams Fork, all those burn scars will have the chance for seeing some flash flooding tomorrow. But it should be a fairly limited threat. We don't have a ton of moisture with this setup. We do have enough, though, that we could see some flash flooding on up in the burn scars into the mountains. Outside the burn scars, I'm not looking at much in the way of a flood threat. Now, tomorrow afternoon, once again, here's what it looks like around 3 or 4 o'clock. We'll have, again, 1 or 2 storms around the Denver area. Best chance looks to be somewhere between about, again, 4 and 6 o'clock or so tomorrow afternoon. This is what our Futurecast radar looks like come tomorrow afternoon. This is around 5 o'clock, so right around pregame, we'll have storms around. So just keep that in mind. Again, if you're heading to any of those outdoor watch parties, just keep a place you can run to, again, a standalone building, a vehicle, somewhere to sprint to if a storm does disrupt those outdoor plans. So again, when thunder roars, go indoors. By the way, this is Lightning Safety Week as well, so always worth the added reminder. Avoid water. So of course you don't want to be out in the water. That's the worst place to be. Stay off the porches. I think there's a bit of a myth out there that if you're under a tent or under a canopy of sorts, you're okay. Lightning can potentially strike you even in some of those positions. You want to stay away from windows and electronics, and the best place to be, again, inside a building, away from windows, and if you're in a vehicle, if you're in a car, you'll be okay as well. So again, maybe for tomorrow, you're heading to Tivoli Quad, best place to be will be inside of a vehicle if you have access to one nearby. Now for the summer monsoon, that's going to be into play this weekend. That'll cool us down significantly. And this is that overall setup. Just as a reminder, I showed this yesterday. I want to show it one more time for your day today. When we get a monsoon, there's 2 things at play. One, you got a ridge of high pressure over the southeast United States. We'll have that for your day tomorrow. And then you got a monsoonal low over Arizona or northwest Mexico. That leads to this kind of pipeline of moisture that's drawn up from the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific Ocean. And what that leads to is a lot of moisture and the potential for widespread storms in and around the state of Colorado. And this is, again, a fairly typical setup for the summer months. We tend to see the monsoon peak in July and August, but we're seeing a bit of an early start to it this year, and that's why we're talking about some of those monsoonal showers and storms this weekend. So Friday afternoon, storms around for us. Again, some of this is due to the monsoon. Some of it's due to a cold front as well. And then on Saturday, this is more kind of true monsoon moisture moving its way into Colorado with that southerly fetch of moisture, drawing up a lot of that Pacific and Gulf of Mexico rainfall. And the result, a bit of a cool washout for us this weekend, especially along the Front Range and especially as you get south of I-70. That's where you have the best chance of seeing that rainfall. Rainfall amounts could be pretty decent in spots. Look at that in Springfield, 2 inches plus possible in a few areas. Most of us with a good widespread ½ to inch of rainfall. A pretty good number because that would be enough rainfall to lead to some helping of the drought conditions, but not enough to really lead to flooding. Though, again, burn scars, we're going to have to watch for that in particular. 7-day forecast, temperatures near 90 for your day tomorrow. Then fairly cloudy, fairly unsettled days both on Saturday and Sunday, certainly on the cool side. Nice running weather though. Temperatures in the 70s for both Saturday and Sunday. And by the way, hopefully the Avalanche can get it done tomorrow night because Game 6 weather does not look very nice for those outdoor watch parties. It's going to be kind of cool and rainy on Sunday if we do have, again, that Game 6 coming up on Sunday. That would be in Tampa, of course, but again, for those outdoor watch parties. And then Monday and Tuesday, temperatures warm back up again, and then by the middle of next week, we're back into the 90s and storms return by next Thursday. So hopefully it gives you a pretty good idea about what to expect over the next few days. Few storms around today, better chance tomorrow, and then the weekend looks cool and rainy with next week looking a fair bit warmer with temperatures back into the 90s by next Wednesday. Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen has an update at 9 News at noon, and also Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin in at 4 and 5 tonight, and then Meteorologist Danielle Grant in at 6, 9, and 10 on the 9 News family of networks. I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Go Avs, and we'll see you right back here on 9 News Plus.